All right. Hello, everybody. So, welcome to my cycle syncing class. I'm super excited to go over this information because it's something that's not normally covered and something that's actually relatively new to me as well. So, my name is Aaliyah Hagan, and I am the owner of Aaliyah's Roots Remedies. So I'm going to be going over what cycle syncing is, why we should do it, how to track our menstrual cycle, and then I'm going to be going through each phase of our menstrual cycle and how to support it with certain exercises, foods, activities, herbs, essential oils, etc. So let's get into it. So let me share my screen with you here. Instagram, sorry, you're just gonna have to not see my screen. All right. So this information, I'm just gonna scroll to the top, is in my Vulva and Menstrual Health 101 guide. So all of my guides are free. If you've registered for this webinar or class, you should have gotten the link to this. If you're on Instagram and watching the recording of this, let me know if you want the recording or want the guide. I can definitely send it to you. It's all free. So this guide here has not just cycle syncing information, but it has anatomy of the vulva. Hey, Ryan, loving your vulva tips, general vulva health tips, eating for your vulva, pubic hair 101, razor burn, ingrown hair, healing yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, UTI, etc., reusable period products, cycle syncing, which we're going to be focusing on today, and then how to get doTERRA essential oils into your home, and then also resources for further education. So this guide here is chock full of all kinds of information, but again, we're going to be covering mainly cycle syncing today. So let's scroll through here. Again, lots of information. So I go over menstrual health, colors of your period, blood, etc., what to pay attention to. So now we're into cycle syncing. So you can kind of define cycle syncing as adjusting your activities, your food, exercises, to work with our hormones and to stay in the flow with our natural cycle. Of course, foundational wellness like diet, movement, rest, stress management are super important for hormone balancing and our cycle period. But cycle syncing is really about like the fine tuning of the lifestyle. So if any of this is like, whoa, that's way too much to pay attention to, I don't know how I could do that, that's totally fine. Start with where you're at, and then we can always move into, again, fine-tuning the rest. So this information is kind of new to me relatively in the past few months. So I'm super excited about it because it's something that I am slowly starting to incorporate more. I'm not perfect at it, so we're kind of learning together. So I'm just going to start with playing this 4-minute video. Instagram, Ryan, we'll see if, I don't know, maybe I can move you so that you can see it too. Of course, there's going to be an ad.
To a birth arrangement is I didn't know.
But I just wanted to review the basics again because I'm guessing that a lot of you haven't learned about your cycle since, I don't know, like 5th grade elementary school sex ed. Just a guess, especially if you haven't been in like a science-based college education, you're really not going to learn about this unless you do the research. So this is just a 4-minute video. It goes over how menstruation works, and I thought it was pretty appropriate to spend the 4 minutes watching this video. So here we go. Instagram, I'm going to try to move you so that you can see it too. All right, hopefully you guys can hear that.
This might seem hard to believe, but right now,
300
million women across the planet are experiencing
this might be weird, but here, let me
a period. The monthly menstrual cycle that leads to the period is a reality most women on Earth will go through in their lives. But why is this cycle so universal? And what makes it a cycle in the first place? Periods last anywhere between 2 and 7 days, arising once within a 28-day rotation. That whole system occurs on repeat, happening approximately 450 times during a woman's life. Behind the scenes are a series of hormonal controls that fine-tune the body's internal workings to make menstruation start or stop during those 28 days. This inner machinery includes 2 ovaries stocked with thousands of tiny sacs called follicles that each contain 1 oocyte, an unfertilized egg cell.
Thanks, Ryan.
At puberty, ovaries hold over 400,000 egg cells, but release only 1 each month, which results in pregnancy or a period. Here's how the cycle unfolds. Each month, beginning around puberty, the hormone-producing pituitary gland in the brain starts releasing 2 substances into the blood: follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone. When they reach the ovaries, they encourage the internal egg cells to grow and mature. The follicles respond by pumping out estrogen. The egg cells grow and estrogen levels peak, inhibiting the production of FSH and telling the pituitary to pump out more LH. That causes only the most mature egg cell from one of the ovaries to burst out of the follicle and through the ovary wall. This is called ovulation, and it usually happens 10 to 16 days before the start of a period. The tiny oocyte moves along the fallopian tube. A pregnancy can only occur if the egg is fertilized by a sperm cell within the next 24 hours. Otherwise, the egg's escapade ends and the window for pregnancy closes for that month. Meanwhile, the now empty follicle begins to release progesterone, another hormone that tells the womb's lining to plump up with blood and nutrients in preparation for a fertilized egg that may embed there and grow. If it doesn't embed, a few days later, the body's progesterone and estrogen levels plummet, meaning the womb stops padding out and starts to degenerate, eventually falling away. Blood and tissue leave the body, forming the period. The womb can take up to a week to clear out its unused contents, after which the cycle begins anew. Soon afterwards, the ovaries begin to secrete estrogen again, and the womb lining thickens, getting ready to accommodate a fertilized egg or be shed. Hormones continually control these activities by circulating in ideal amounts, delivered at just the right time. The cycle keeps on turning, transforming each day and each week into a milestone along its course towards pregnancy or a period. Although this cycle appears to move by clockwork, there's room for variation. Women and their bodies are unique after all. Menstrual cycles occur at different times in the month, ovulation comes at various points in the cycle, and some periods last longer than others. Menstruation even begins and ends at different times in life for different women, too. In other words, variations between periods are normal. Appreciating these differences and learning about this monthly process can empower women, giving them the tools to understand and take charge of their own bodies. That way, they're able to factor this small cycle into a much larger cycle of life.
Oh, I like that video. All right, Instagram, I'm gonna put you back in your place back here. This is my very ghetto setup here. Okay, so I just like that video because it has images to it. It's gonna be more clear than me just talking at you. And does it sound complicated to you guys? I know even for me, who's studied this many times, it's complicated. I mean, the body is such a wonderful, complicated process, you know, when we break it down to physiology like that. So I just think that's super important, understanding it. So the first step of cycle syncing is to track our cycle. So basically start with making notes of the first day of your period, or aka the first day of your bleeding, and then pay attention to your energy and emotions throughout these different phases in the month. There's more information in the guide if you wanted to have more details for that. There's definitely great apps for this, and especially if you're wanting to look into natural birth control, which is basically what tracking your cycle is. There's great temperature gauges, basal body temperature, I think it's called. It's more sensitive than just the normal temperature gauges that you get at like CVS or whatever. And you can track your temperature each morning right when you wake up, and that will help you track your cycle and help you know when you are fertile or when it's safe to have sex, especially for natural birth control. But more information on that later. I'll probably do a whole class just on natural birth control because that's something I want to learn about. And I think it's so, so important for everyone to know that there's other options besides just the hormone pill and IUDs and the implants and the NuvaRing, which all mess up our hormones like crazy. So why else do we want to track our cycle? First of all, we have a better understanding of our own body, right? We get to know why we're feeling certain emotions at certain times and we don't just feel crazy. And then again, we can cycle sync. We can adjust our activities depending on the phase of our cycle. And then again, like I just mentioned, it has the opportunity to be a natural birth control for us too. Now, if you don't have a regular period, I'm not going to be covering that too in depth because I need to study it more, but I've linked an article here in the guide for you to look into. I've heard that you can also track with the moon, and so that can be another option if you don't have a regular period or maybe you're in menopause as well. So here's an image of hormone levels and follicular development, aka egg development. So this just kind of is a screenshot of what is going on. You can see the hormones up and down, up and down. No wonder we feel different at different times of the month. And it's time that we kind of learn to respect that, at least in my eyes. I know that I need to in my own life. So I'm going to be talking about doTERRA essential oils here in each one of the phases. So I just wanted to cover briefly how they work for hormone balancing before I go into the different phases. So they are said to have estrogenic properties, aka they can act like estrogen in the body, and they can indirectly cause the release of hormones in the body. This would occur when an essential oil stimulates an endocrine gland in such a way that it releases one or more of its hormones. And I've linked up these different sources here. This image is messing up the words. Sorry about that. And the oils can help decrease inflammation, and which is a big issue for gut health, aka hormone health. So when inflammation is in the body, that causes everything to go out of whack. And then regardless, the essential oils are super helpful for the up and down symptoms of the cycle, which I'll go into here in a moment. So it's really important to note here that when I'm talking about essential oils, I am not talking about the essential oils that you get at Whole Foods or Amazon, okay? Those are fake fragrances that are labeling themselves as essential oils. doTERRA essential oils are sourced from where the plants are supposed to grow. That way they have the least impact on the land and the most medicinal value. And they're the most tested and most trusted essential oil. So there's more information in the guide here if you want, but I just have to put that in there for safety. And then for general hormone balance, there's a Clary Calm blend that's amazing. It has all of the essential oils and plants that are good for hormone balancing in one roller bottle. Geranium, neroli, clary sage, and frankincense are also really, really helpful for just general hormone balancing. And how to use them, you can dilute and apply to lower belly, bottoms of your feet, pulse points here, behind your ears. And then you can also take them internally if it says supplement on the bottle. Again, this is just doTERRA essential oils. Please don't go to Whole Foods and buy essential oils and take them internally. It's really, really important. All right, so let's get into the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. So I like to break them up into different seasons because it helps me kind of remember and understand more. So the first phase is the menstrual phase. This is when we have our period, when we're bleeding. So we can think of this as winter. So I'll just explain this briefly. So this is basically days 1 to 7-ish. Again, everyone is going to have a slightly different cycle than the next person, right? So once implantation of sperm doesn't occur, both progesterone and estrogen drop and the uterine lining sheds. So that's what we're experiencing when we're bleeding. And this is when our hormones and our energy is at the lowest, aka winter. So the energy of this is like you really want to be cozy. You want to go inward. You want to take time for yourself. And when we take this time to go inward and calm and slow down, this can really light up the rest of our life and our cycle when we honor this part. But when we're go, 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 we're gonna run ourselves ragged. I am totally guilty of this, as I know most people are who have periods. So activities, rest, self-nourishment, really, again, going inward. And then exercise. Do you want to be going out and doing a 10-mile hike during your period? No. So we probably shouldn't, right? So gentle movement like yin yoga, meditative, gentle walks. Maybe you want to get out into the forest. Different food to focus on. It's really good to focus on warming and nourishing foods. Protein, fats, fruits and veggies, and high fiber carbs that really help to replace the nutrients that are lost in our blood. So soothing teas and warming foods like stews and bone broth are really good. And then there's a whole idea of seed cycling. So seeds are a great way to help balance our hormones. And so there's information in the guide here. So basically, pumpkin and flax seeds during menstruation phase are going to be really helpful. And iron-rich foods, vitamin C, B12, omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, and high fiber carbohydrates are all listed here. So this is just something to consider when we are in our menstrual phase. And then doTERRA essential oils to support. So again, Clary Calm, it's the blend of all of the oils that are good for hormone balancing, really good for cramps. Frankincense is really soothing too. Rose, clary sage, the deep blue, marjoram, and fennel for cramps are amazing. A heating pack, again, slowing down, are all really important during this phase. And then after menstrual phase, we move into follicular phase, AKA spring. So this is days 7 to 14-ish. And this is when estrogen, testosterone, and energy start to rise. Again, thinking of springtime, plants are starting to grow, flowers are starting to bud. So our energy is we're starting to regain this energy that's been really low. Different activities to do. It's really good to start to brainstorm. You can start to socialize again. It's really good for creation, working on different projects. And then when we think about exercise during the follicular phase, it's really good to, we're slowly, again, our energy is starting to rise. And so it's good to incorporate more moderate to high intensity. For example, like group fitness, dance is really good, cardio. So all of these things are good during this phase. And then for food, we might experience a slight drop in our appetite. So protein and veggies for estrogen support and vitamin E foods to support ovaries are really helpful. And then also sprouted and fermented foods are great during this phase as well. And then again, for the seeds, it's just pumpkin and flax seeds. And so there's I list here in the guide, different phytoestrogen foods like flax, pumpkin seeds, soybeans, hummus, berries, etc. Fiber, antioxidants, really good to get in those berries. Raspberries are really supportive for hormone balancing, fermented foods, and cruciferous veggies. And then during this phase, the different essential oils that can be helpful are, again, those general hormone balancing oils that I listed above in the guide. And then also like peppermint and lemon to match that rising energy, to kind of work with our hormones again to help us feel that rising energy even more. And I feel like there's going to be something else I wanted to add in here, but I don't think so. Then the next phase is ovulation phase. So this is when our egg is released. So we kind of break this down into days 14 to 21. Even though the egg is released only one day, we can kind of think of this 7-day period-ish as the ovulation phase. So this is when estrogen and testosterone peak, and progesterone also rises. So this is the summer season. Think of it's sunny outside. We have lots of energy. Our energy, mood, and libido are at their highest. We're blossoming. We're ripe and juicy. It's good to be out in the world. We're really confident and strong. I'm somewhat moving into my summer months right now. So maybe you can kind of pick that up. Different activities that are good to do. It's good time to network, to socialize, plan, book your speaking events. And then different exercise this is when you can do the most strenuous, okay? Like high intensity, you can do your spin classes, your circuit training, running, kind of boot camp, yoga sculpt class, maybe. Again, this is when our energy is at its highest. And then for food, again, we're going to experience most of the time, a slight drop in our appetite, because I think the body's wanting to focus on getting pregnant. And so it's not spending all that energy with appetite. So it's good to keep the foods very similar to the follicular phase, which was spring, and focus with a little extra focus on magnesium rich foods, because magnesium drops with ovulation. So magnesium examples are hemp seeds, flax seeds, tofu, almonds, quinoa, pumpkin seeds, spinach, and dark chocolate. Yummy. And then the different oils, essential oils to use, is just the general hormone balancing oils listed above. And then basically any of the floral oils are going to really help us embody that sensuality and that confidence. So like jasmine, neroli, rose, magnolia, ylang ylang, geranium, all of these oils are just like this luscious queen energy that is just so good to really help our body tune into that sensuality and that confidence that comes with the ovulation phase. It can be super yummy to use these oils with the phases, you guys. It makes all the difference in the world. So next is the luteal phase. So this is days 21 to 28-ish. This is when progesterone peaks, and then all hormones and energy start to decrease. This is our PMS time. So you might start to, in the beginning of this phase, feel some of that summer energy, right, still, and then it starts to move into fall, which is the luteal phase. This is when our energy is starting to go back inward, our energy is dropping, and this can be actually a time of really deep teaching and wisdom. Again, PMS comes out, we can be more moody. It's really good to take extra care, take time to slow down before our blood comes. I know that PMS can be real hard, my friends. I definitely have really bad PMS, and my mood swings are crazy. I get really down, depression can take over. So just knowing that I'm in the luteal phase, I'm in my fall, can help so much. Because when I have those depressed thoughts come and I feel really down, I can kind of just take it with a grain of salt, knowing that this is just my hormones talking, that it's really good to honor that lower energy and time to go back inward. So activities, nesting, maybe you want to do some light organizing. It's good to kind of, again, turn inward. So maybe take care of those personal to-do lists, and then limit socializing to reserve that energy. And then for exercise, light to moderate. You can start with the beginning of the phase with more like strength and vinyasa yoga, and then move into the second part, more yin yoga and walking towards the end of this phase to kind of honor that lowering of the energy. And then different foods to start or to incorporate. So this is the phase where cravings can start, and it's important to really not restrict ourselves, to really honor where we're at, but find healthy alternatives. So if we're craving like all the carbs, all the chocolate, all the sugar, maybe utilize dark chocolate, berries, and high fiber carbs to really curb those cravings, but also getting in those leafy greens, quinoa. The seeds that are really good for this phase are sesame and sunflower seeds, and then making sure to get in these different foods that are rich in magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, thiamine, and vitamin B6, which are all listed in this guide here. And then the essential oils to incorporate during this time. Again, this is where like major PMS can come up. So just in general, the general hormone balancing oils listed above in the beginning are going to be really helpful, but specific things like if you have head tension pop up, which can happen, Peppermint and lavender are so effective and helpful for that. If you have different skin issues coming up, maybe you have more acne prone skin, the tea tree, lavender, and frankincense can be absolutely fantastic for that. And again, the cool thing with these oils, you guys, is they are not only good for acne prone skin or headaches or head tension, but also for 1,000 other things. So they're really the most versatile products and tools that we can have in our tool belt. Again, for cramps, clary sage, peppermint, sweet marjoram, fennel, all of these are really good for cramping. Bloating and digestion issues. The Digest Zen essential oil is just a blend of all of the plants that are good for digestion, like ginger, peppermint, fennel, anise. There's a couple more in there. They're just in one bottle, so it makes it really easy. You can rub that topically on your belly, especially it's good for cramps as well. And then you can also take it internally as well. Lemon is really, really good for just gut health in general, but also for kind of that bloating that we may feel. Fennel is really good. Rosemary, hi, thanks for joining. Is really helpful for anything digestion related. We may start to feel more brain fog during the luteal phase here. So rosemary is really helpful for brain health and memory. Maybe we can't sleep. And so again, there's really simple solutions for that. Lavender, frankincense, the Serenity blend. We can start to take this time to really start to nourish ourselves. Take those self-care practices of setting up our diffuser, putting some essential oils on our belly, breathing them in, taking some deep breaths. Maybe if we're having low libido, but we want to get it on, ylang ylang and neroli are really helpful. They act as natural aphrodisiacs. And so also anxiety, stress, and depression can take a hold on us, like I mentioned in the beginning, during this phase of our cycle. So wild orange, lavender, neroli, clary sage, all of these can really help support us in our emotional and mental health too. We may, again, start to feel lower energy. So if we do need to do something during this time, because we can't always slow down when we want to, right? Life has a mind of its own. So if we need to do something that's more high energy during this phase, again, simple solutions, plants, my friends, peppermint, lemon, orange, just the simple breathing in of a drop of peppermint oil can change the game. And then mood swings, geranium, and adaptive oil. I mean, I could go on and on for all these different solutions, but I've just listed again here some really simple ones. So this is kind of cycle syncing. Again, I know it's a lot to kind of take in, and you're kind of maybe thinking, how do I actually incorporate all of this? But remember, the first step to this is to track your cycle. And maybe choose one of these areas, whether it be activities to adjust, exercise to adjust, or foods or essential oils to adjust. Maybe, like for me, I've started to incorporate more of the exercise, changing my exercise depending on the phase of the cycle I'm in. That's a game changer and such a great way to honor our bodies and not to push. So I think if more people are cycle syncing who have periods, I know not all people who have periods consider themselves women, so I want to make it a very inclusive verbiage here. I think if more people who have their periods start to cycle sync, I think some major healing is going to come from that on an individual level, but also a collective level. So if you have any questions about this, please let me know. I think it's something that we can all learn together. There's some great books that I have listed. Let me just scroll down here. So I've heard the Fifth Vital Sign is really good, Period Power, Beyond the Pill, Woman Code. These are all books that I want to get and start researching. So I highly recommend checking those out and doing more digging with this, doing some more education. I've listed some great people on social media to follow here. Dr. Melissa has put out some great hormone information specifically about thyroid. So there's great resources here at the bottom. And then last thing I want to end with is if you want to get some of these doTERRA essential oils and products into your life, let me know. I recommend starting with the top 10 or the top 5 and doTERRA supplements. So what you'll get from me, no matter what you order from doTERRA, is a whole lot of support, a welcome guide to your new oils with a very specific protocol and how to use them for you, a welcome gift, a free 45-minute wellness consult to create a 90-day wellness plan, a Facebook community for ongoing support, and more. So this is not just something, you know, I sell you essential oils and you're on your own, right? So again, I recommend starting with the top 10, which are listed here. And this image just goes through how cost efficient the oils are. When you have a stomach ache, it can be 24 cents to help support that stomach ache, right? If you have ear trouble, it can be 48 cents to support that, as opposed to taking time off of work, paying for the copay, traveling, taking time off work, etc. These are tools at our fingertips at home, as well as, you know, eating right, movement, all of that good stuff. These are just tools. If you are a current customer in doTERRA, you can order off your doTERRA wholesale account. If you've ever gotten oils, you probably have a wholesale account. So the smartest way to get oils and any kind of natural products is through doTERRA's optional loyalty rewards program. So that's basically just an optional monthly order that you can edit each time, and you get a rebate. So you get a percentage back and free product credit. It's freaking awesome. So if you buy any natural products, hair care, skin care, supplements, anything, it's really good to utilize your wholesale account with doTERRA. It's the best wholesale account ever. All right, my friends, that's kind of all I wanted to go over without totally overwhelming you guys. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And I'm going to turn off the live on Facebook. Turn off the live on Instagram here. Thanks for joining. If you guys watching live want the full recording of this, the guide, message me and I'll send you the link. And all right, are there any questions here before I hop off? Hi, Leah. All right, I'm going to stop the recording. So thank you for joining for the recording. Let me know if you have any questions, aaliyahhagen@gmail.com. If you've registered for this, you already have my contact information.